to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Wednesday, January 26th, 2022. And thanks so much for joining me, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. We have a couple things to dive into today, like the Minnesota Vikings doing what I said. Watch out, tomorrow morning we're going to hire our next general manager because the Chicago Bears took one of our two finalists away. So, I mean, simple math there, take one away. All right, there's one left. That's more than likely going to be the guy, and that was the guy that they decided to hire, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. We'll talk about him here coming up. We also have to kind of dive into the uncertainty of the futures of Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, and Tom fucking Brady, okay, the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't really know what's going to happen, right? I mean, they're going to keep everything to themselves at this point in time. They're going to let the playoff loss kind of settle, kind of go away. They're going to wait a couple weeks, and then they're finally going to give their announcements of what the fuck is going to happen. But I'm going to give you my 2 cents of what it feels like their future might hold in store for us fans and us, people that just love news, I guess, if you want. I don't know, or love the players and stuff like that. So, and then other than that, we got to dive into, obviously, the NFC and the AFC Championship games that are going to be taking place this Sunday. The AFC game at 2 p.m. Central Time, the NFC game at 5:30 Central Time. Don't know why the fuck I said 5:40 the other day, but that is going to be the case at 5:40, there we go again, 5:30, they will be taking place, or having the NFC Championship game taking place. So with that being said, we got to dive right on into it, all right? Are you ready to get your fix, huh? Just like the song says, are you ready to get your fix? But the Minnesota Vikings have decided on a new general manager. They have hired general manager, or former Browns vice president of player operations, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Hopefully I said that right. If not, I apologize, but we'll get it right eventually, as long as I can continue to hear his name being said throughout the internet, on Twitter, and all of that nonsense and whatnot. So this is a pretty decent hire. I do like this. Just simply off the fact that the couple of things that I've been hearing about him, who he is as a guy, as a character, what he's going to bring to the table, and from what I've kind of noticed and what I've kind of pieced together in my brain, is this guy's probably the right man for the job for the Minnesota Vikings. I honestly do believe that wholeheartedly, because even though I wanted some other person to get a chance, it just wasn't the case. But kind of going away from this guy didn't rise through the NFL ranks as you would typically expect, right? You go from like a scout to a player personnel person, then you go to the VP or the vice president of player personnel or something like that, player operations, and then you kind of keep working your way on up the totem pole, and then eventually get your chance at a potential general manager position, right? That just wasn't his route. So this man went to Princeton, okay, did his thing at Princeton. Then he works at Wall Street, doing something with dividends. Fuck if I know what that is. Okay, he just worked at Wall Street, did his thing there. Very, very intelligent man, especially going to Princeton. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what, a a private, not a private, but an Ivy League school, one of those top most intellectual schools that you see around the nation. And he goes to Wall Street. He does his thing there. He's probably pretty successful there. Then he gets going. Then he gets a job with the 49ers and does his thing there. And then he goes to the Cleveland Browns, where it is said that he has a very like mindset of that of Joe Barry, or I think that's his name. Yeah, Joe Barry of the Cleveland Browns, and which is good because that's going to bring over different parts of his experiences, what he's learned differently, how many different general managers he's been around and stuff like that. We kind of get a taste of a little bit of everything. He is a highly analytics kind of guy. He likes the analytics side of things, which is okay. I like that, but at the same time, analytics to me they might mean cool things sometimes, or they might have the right outcome at times, but I don't give a fuck, okay? Like, for instance, it's 4th and 1. It says, analytics say punt the fucking ball and stuff like that. Well, no, all right? We don't need to on 4th and 1 when we got fucking Derrick Henry in our backfield, even though I'm not talking about the Vikes. I'm talking, hypothetically, okay? But he likes the analytics side of things, but that's not necessarily what he's going to bring to the table. From what it seems like, a reporter from Ian Rappaport via NFL Live or NFL Network, he kind of said that he's one of those guys that are going to be really interested in listening to both sides of things and kind of really make a splash here and there and kind of do what he thinks is right. And if something kind of intrigues him and he thinks that's the right way to go, he's going to go out and do that. Like, for instance, Minnesota Vikings haven't really been known to go make splash trades, go get people here or from there and stuff like that. He could be one of those guys that actually does that and gets us in a position to win fucking Super Bowls. That's what we need over here, okay? We're dreaming of a fucking championship. And until that day comes true, we're going to continue to be dreaming on that. And I hope it does. But I do like this hiring a lot because he brings a lot to the table. He really, really does. And I think, I don't know if I could play this little snippet of what Ian Rappaport said. But fuck it, right? Fuck it. I'm going to do it anyways. Here we go.
Yeah, he did not. First of all, that's a name you gotta figure out how to properly say. Not a household name for the Minnesota Vikings. It didn't really come up like a lot of GMs did. This is not a guy who started as a regional scout, then made his way to national scout after years, then kind of got in the building and climbed his way up in the scouting ranks. This is completely different. This is someone who went to Princeton, who got an economics degree in Princeton, was on Wall Street for years, trading derivatives, which I know you don't know what that is, and then ended up with the San Francisco 49ers. Parag Marathe, who's one of their top executives, kind of had him as a protege. And he eventually went to the Browns and, kind of has emerged as a sort of like Andrew Berry, who's the Browns GM. I mean, he's big on analytics, but he takes the numbers, he blends it in, he takes all the different viewpoints, and is very good at finding an answer and being innovative and creative. This is the guy who now is going to lead the Minnesota Vikings organization. Then, of course, the next question, who is going to be his coach? There are several people on the Vikings coaching list that he is close with or has a good relationship with. Nathaniel Hackett is one. DeMeco Ryans is another. I know Todd Bowles would be considered strongly there as well, among other candidates. So now that is the focus now for the Minnesota Vikings, considering they have a new GM.
So there you go. Perfect. I like it. I like what he had to say. Ian Rappaport via... that was on Twitter, okay, so I'm assuming that's okay to play. At least I didn't show you the video and stuff like that. But he likes to take different viewpoints, bring them in. He weighs his options, and he's more than likely going to take the better option. And we all know at some points in time and in life, and the best option may not be the best option, obviously, at that point in time. But you got to live with him. You got to die with him. Apparently, the Minnesota Vikings have signed him to a 4-year contract. Not really sure the money side of things, how much it's worth, what's going to happen. But that gives us a good timeline, right? It gives him a good timeline to kind of come in here, establish himself as the Vikings' new general manager, build these relationships, bring guys into the building for a couple of years, get rid of people that shouldn't be in the building at all. Clint Kubiak, but that's the head coach's. That's the head coach's job to figure out who his coaching staff will be, and then the GM will obviously have to not really abide by it, but at the same time kind of have to agree with it because he's the one that's ultimately going to be in charge of making a splash hire. Like they said, Nathaniel Hackett, I think he's the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. He and Adolfo Mensa have a pretty decent relationship. There's also other ones. Matt Eberflus is another one. Who was the other one that they said? I mean, Todd Bowles, he's obviously going to be a high rated, head coaching candidate out there for the Minnesota Vikings, for literally every other team too that needs a head coaching, which by the way, there are 9 head coaching openings at this point in the season, I guess you could say right now, because the regular season is over and the season is over for a lot of teams, but we're still in the 2021-2022 NFL season with the playoffs still being underway. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he has. 4 years, that gives us enough time to say, I like it. I like this dude. He brings a lot of character to the Vikings. We've had success under him. Or it gives us the opportunity to be like, get this guy the fuck out of town. Okay, I do not want him in our organization. He's screwed up too much. And I think that's good. 4 years is good. 3 years is like, okay, what happens if he all of a sudden, he just had a really good draft and the next year after that, the 4th year, he just goes off. So that's why I like 4 years, because the first year it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to establish my relationships here. I'm going to bring in a new head coach that I can have chemistry with. I'm going to talk to all these players, see what we can do better, what we should leave alone. And then the year 2 is kind of like, okay, here we are. All right. Didn't do so hot the first year. Maybe that could be the case. Let's figure out how to work on that. Let's build more chemistry with our guys. Let's figure out our offense, our defense. How well is our head coach performing? Year 3 is like, okay, we've had 2 years in the books. We should know what the fuck we're doing by now. If you haven't had a good season, it's kind of like year 4, buddy, you might be out. But if you're doing really well and you're figuring out how to have a winning program, a winning culture, and a winning locker room over there in Minnesota, or over here in Minnesota, year 4 is going to be awesome. Contract extension could possibly happen. I mean, we're talking, can't get your hopes up too much, right? And you can't get your hopes up too much because I've said this and I've noted this multiple times before. It's like, I mean, a GM can make or break a team, and if you got the wrong GM in place who people thought he should be a GM, things could come crashing down. It could be a complete train wreck. And you can't get your hopes up thinking, oh, this is perfect. This is going to be the greatest hiring of all time. We're going to win multiple Super Bowls with this, because that's just not the reality. The reality is you have no fucking clue what the hell's going to happen in the next 4 years. That's just the hard, cold reality of life and of the sport of football. You have a good season 1 year, the next year you have a losing season. The Vikings have historically always been every other. Okay, I'm going to go to the playoffs. I'm going to miss. I'm going to go to the playoffs. I'm going to miss. But the last 2 years, they've kind of missed back-to-back years. Zimmer, see ya. Spielman, see ya. Long overdue. Not for Zimmer. I think Spielman was long overdue. I think Zimmer was just reaching his time to finally hang it up. I do believe he's still a really good defensive coordinator. He just has to go somewhere else and figure it out that way. Who knows if that's going to be the case for him, but I'm okay with the direction the Vikings are heading in, especially with this new GM, Kwesi Adolfo Mensa. Like I said, hopefully I said that right. But I'm pumped. The future looks bright. Now we got to make it bright. All right, we got to go out and we got to chase a ring. We got to chase the title, man. We got to go get a Lombardi. That is the number one goal. That's the only goal in the NFL. Fuck Pro Bowls. Fuck MVPs. Fuck all that. It's the Super Bowl. That's what we're here for. That's what we need. I don't care if we have fucking Kirk Cousins or, if we have fucking Danny Dimes, who actually we'll talk about here in a minute, at our quarterback position, or we have a shitty roster. If we can find a way to get to the Super Bowl, I'm all in. Okay, that's just my 2 cents on it. But we're going to Danny Dimes. Sounds as if the Giants are going to continue to roll with Danny Dimes. I mean, I like it. I think a lot of people would like it. John Mara, their GM, came out and said, look, we'd done like literally everything to fucking screw it up for this guy, and he still found a way to play some decent football. Basically, is what it's kind of coming out to be. I mean, at first when I read it, I was like, "Damn, did he just really say we've literally tried fucking this guy over and seeing if you can handle that?" But at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, well, they probably kind of not really tried to screw it up, but that's just how it happened, and that's just how it ended up, and Danny Dimes has found a way to play some okay football, some decent football. At least, yeah, the Giants have been garbage, okay, but you can't just put that on one fucking guy, right? You can't play, oh, Danny Dimes is the reason why the New York Giants suck. No, it's their defense, it's their offensive line, it's their running back. Saquon hasn't really been the same since his injuries. It's their wide receivers. It's literally everybody. It goes 52-man roster, every single man on that roster, it's all of their faults. It's all of the head coach, or all the coaching faults. It's the GM fault. It's everything. It's the owner's fault. It's everybody's fault. But Danny Dimes looks like he's going to get a chance. They are in New York. We'll see if that holds true. Could be just blowing smoke in the air because the season has just recently ended, so who knows where that future lies. But there's some other futures that we don't know where they're going to head. And one of them being my boy Brady. I hope it's not the end. This man has done a lot, tremendous work throughout the years. 7 Super Bowl rings out of 10 times that he's went. 7-3 in those Super Bowls. All-time leader in passing yards. All-time leader in passing touchdowns. All-time leader, I believe, in maybe wins. I have no idea about that. I mean, the records are there. The statistics are there. The man is the greatest of all time. No one even comes close to Tom Brady. If you give me Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and 2 other quarterbacks to pick from, 10 times out of 10, I'm taking Tom fucking Brady. The man has proven that he can come back from 28-3, win a fucking Super Bowl, and he damn near did it again this last weekend against the Rams when they were down 20-3. Brought him back, tied the fucking ball game. Their defense just didn't capitalize, let Cooper Kupp run all over him, and the game was over. It wasn't Tom's fault. It was the defense's fault at the end of the game. Yeah, Tom could have played better at the beginning of the game. It could have made it a little easier for him, but it is what it is. He has that clutch gene. He has that all right, let's go mentality, and that's his podcast, the Let's Go podcast. I mean, he goes out there and he jogs on the field and he's let's go. You get it. I love my boy Tom, but obviously, being at 44 years old, the man has to go and sit down with his family, have a conversation with his family. Is this the right thing? Do it? Because if he decides to come back, he has to fully invest his next year to football. He can't invest it fully into his family, and that sucks. Okay, that's just how football is. That's just how the life of a football player is. And if you can't accept that, you're not going to be one of the greatest of all times. You're not going to have all these accolades, and Tom has. Tom has found a way to do that with a family and do it at an exceptional rate. The man's won 7 fucking rings, so he has to sit down with his family, Giselle and his kids, and say, I got, one more year on my contract, I believe. I want to spend more time with you guys. But the way this season ended, look, I've thrown the most passing yards I think that I have in my career. My touchdowns are there. My interceptions are really about average. I'm playing really, really good football at the top of my game. I'm in line for a potential MVP, tied maybe, or in the voting at least. Like, I'm playing some good football. I understand about this. Like, with you guys, what are your 2 cents? I would love to go out there and play another game of football or another season of football and call her quits after that. Hopefully get one more ring. Even though I don't have anything more to prove, I'm the best to do it. No one will, I mean, somebody might achieve it, but I mean, it's going to be tough to achieve what Tom has achieved. So if he retires, we'll probably dedicate a whole day to that. But I hope that's not the end. I hope he comes back for one more year, chases another ring, because I want to watch it again. I want to watch him, maybe potentially get a chance to see him in person. That would be phenomenal for me, and inspiring. So, but another guy we don't know what their future looks like is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' future is really up in the air, right? This last offseason, he stayed away from the team. What's going to happen? Is he going to report to training camp? What the hell is he doing in Hawaii? Jumping off cliffs, hanging with buddies, singing with his guitar, doing all this stuff. What the hell is going to happen? Is he actually going to not play this season? Is he going to hold out? Is he going to retire? What's going on? He comes back to the Green Bay Packers. He leads his team to the divisional round and gets upset in the most weird way, most fucked up way. Like, things just did not go his way. And yesterday I got a chance to watch him on via the Pat McAfee show. And a lot of people are bashing him and stuff like that. My first thought is, go fuck yourself if you're bashing the dude. Okay, I don't care what your 2 cents are on it. Like, who gives a fuck? I mean, this dude is spilling what he believes, what he thinks, and his opinion shouldn't matter to you. Okay, so for all you guys out there that are giving, Pat and Aaron shit, like, fuck off. Okay, because it's not needed. But Aaron has made me like him more as a person. Like, at first, I mean, obviously I was a diehard Vikings fan. I did not give a shit about the Green Bay Packers. I decided to do this show and dive into the whole NFL, not just one singular team like I could have done. I dived into the whole NFL. I have to give every side, or have to know and believe and see every single side, all 32 sides of things, and have to really, enjoy what this team is doing, what this team is doing, and blah, blah, blah. And learning from Aaron Rodgers via the Pat McAfee show, and seeing who he is as a person and how he brings himself. And he's just really a misunderstood guy, because the media portrays him that way, in a poorly manner. The media is terrible at doing a lot of things and slandering him and stuff like that. He's just telling you what he believes, and it shouldn't matter. But via the Pat McAfee show, they were kind of talking about his future and where that lies, and he's really not sure. Obviously, they're going to let this kind of stew, let the playoffs kind of get over and done with behind him, and then he's going to kind of make his decision. And he said, I want to make my decision well before free agency, probably just before free agency. So, because this is his words, he's like, I have to be, what is it? How did he say this? He's like, God, I'm trying to think of the word, and now my mind's just fucking, I have to be, golly. He pretty much just said, I have to, his fucking words right on the tip of my tongue, and I just cannot figure out what the fuck it is. Golly, okay. Well, he's aware that Green Bay is $38 million over the cap space, right? And he has to be able to tell his team whether or not he's going to be back for next season. Whether that means a Green Bay Packer, or I'm not going to be back, I'm going to retire, or I'm going to ask for a trade. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call it a day. And while he was saying that, while he was talking and going on and on about his future, it led me to believe there's two things that are real plays, and I think one of them is definitely not the case. And one of them that I believe is not the case is I don't think he's going to be a Green Bay Packer next year. I don't believe that. And the only reason I say that is because it was the way he was talking, the way he was speaking, and I could be completely out of context, and I could be completely wrong and not know anything, right? Because I don't know him personally. I don't know his story. I don't know who he is and stuff like that. But that's just what it felt like visually for me. It was like, okay, Green Bay's probably not an option. But the other two options make a lot of sense. And I think the two options that we can expect out of Aaron Rodgers is I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna ride off in the sunset. We're gonna call it quits I got other things on my mind. I just don't know if football's it for me at this time in my life. I got to start thinking what's best for me, now what's best for you, and stuff like that. And the other option, which would make a lot of sense as well, is going in and saying, I request a trade. I want out. I don't want to retire yet. I have a lot of football left. I'm probably going to win back-to-back MVPs. I'm at the top of my game. I don't throw the ball away. I don't turn it over. I mean, the stats are there. Playoffs have been, kind of rocky, 11-12 in his last however many games or something like that in the playoffs. Or, in total, I think, in the playoffs. I kind of want to trade. I want to get out of this organization. I want to start anew. And that's exactly what Tom fucking Brady did a couple years ago when New England started going down the gutter and they weren't giving him weapons and anything like that. Tom said, deuces, I'm going to Tampa. I'm testing out my free agency. I ain't coming back to New England because you guys aren't listening to basically what I'm saying. Our relationship is good. I don't want to tarnish that relationship. I think it's just time for me personally to move on and go somewhere else because I can still play. I still want to play. I'm going to go to Tampa. And I have a feeling that's kind of where Rodgers is headed. Whether, I don't know what team that could be or what the possibility of any of that is. But at the same time, what's going to happen? Like, retirement's a really, really big possibility. So I'm excited to see kind of what happens with Aaron Rodgers, with Tom Brady. I hope Brady comes back for another year. And if Rodgers comes back, I want him to go on another team. Even though, sorry, John, I mean, I just, if he does go back on the Green Bay Packers, it's going to be a massive pay cut and a massive, everything's just going to be different. He says he doesn't want to rebuild now, and then Matt LaFleur's like, we're not going to rebuild. We have a plan in place, and the bullshit. Okay, you're 5 fucking days away from your loss. You do not have a plan at this point in time unless you already knew this was going to happen and you already knew you were over the cap space in mid-season. You were trying to work out that plan. Get out of here. Like, you will have a plan eventually. It's just not right now. And so to see Rodgers go somewhere else will be awesome. I don't know where that's going to be. I don't know how or what team he's going to want to play on. And a lot of the speculation is Pittsburgh. A lot of the other speculation is the Colts. Could be a trade. Carson for Aaron. I think John would be, he'd probably be okay with that. But whatever the case is, we do not know what Brady and Mr. Rodgers' jersey over there holds for us in the future. So it'll be interesting to see where that kind of goes in the future. We'll kind of keep our eyes on it and locked in on it. And like I said, if Brady does retire, probably a whole day will be dedicated to him, or a whole show to him. But with that being said, let's dive right into the NFC and the AFC divisional round matchups. We won't dive into them too hard because it's not really much to talk about. I mean, this is the 4 best teams in the NFL, and I couldn't be more excited. It sounds as if every single 49er is going to be playing, minus maybe a couple, I don't know. But it sounds as if George Kittle's ready to go. Deebo Samuel's healthy, even though he suffered, or he had a helmet strike his knee in the game. It sounds like Jimmy G is still dealing with some soreness and some shoulder soreness. But I think he's going to be back and ready to play some football. Sounds like he's ready to go, especially in SoFi, a warmer place. He doesn't have to worry about it tightening up mid-game. I mean, even though he did just fine. But I think he's ready to rock and roll. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are obviously going to be doing their things. This is going to be a very fun game because, as we know, we talked about it, right? The Rams have lost their last 6 games to the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan has had Sean McVay's number, and John kind of brought that to my attention, sent me the record. So that kind of shout out to John, or Y4, Young Forever, for doing that to me, or doing that for me, and kind of showing me, like, goddamn, like, I would have never thought about that, but definitely the Niners have the Rams' number. So it's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be a hard-fought game. And I've said this before as well. The Niners, I think, schematically are the hardest team in the NFL to play against because they never quit. They do crazy things, just weird what the fuck kind of things. Deebo Samuel at wide receiver, Deebo Samuel at running back, at tight end. Like, he's just all over the place. George Kittle's in the mix. You got Elijah Mitchell. I mean, it just kind of goes on and on with what the Niners have, and their defense is playing phenomenal football. But now they have a really tough matchup against Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyler Higbee, Cam Akers, Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson. I mean, the Rams are a real team as well, like a real fucking good team. And so are the Niners. So I'm expecting a very hard-fought game out of the NFC side of things at 5:30 p.m. Central Time this Sunday. It's going to be electrifying. I think it's kind of bullshit that the Rams organization decided to say, if you are from the San Francisco area or a 49er fan, you will not be able to purchase our tickets, purchase your track today. You can't do that, okay? I think that's kind of bullshit. I think the NFL should kind of intervene, even though that's the owner's stadium. The owner can do whatever the fuck he wants with it, basically, but it's like, what, are you scared? Are you really scared that you have no fucking fans and everybody's just going to revolve around the Niners because they've been a historic franchise for however the fuck long, and the Rams have kind of bounced from place to place and the fan base doesn't really know what to do, and oh no, we're just in LA because LA has historically been a basketball city. The Lakers, the Clippers, I mean, they're all about basketball, not as much football, but whatever. I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. I mean, the Rams really don't have that many fans, and once they get to the Super Bowl, you're going to see all these fans come out of the woodworks like, I was always a Rams fan. I love the Rams, okay? No. I mean, come on now, you fucking bandwagon. Jeez Louise. But I'm all in for it. I want Stafford to go get his ring because that just proves right then and there that Detroit was the problem, not Stafford, and I'm pumped for it. On the AFC side of things, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, going to be electrifying. The Cincinnati Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 17, 34-31, due to their rookie kicker, Evan McPherson, kicking a game winner, in which he did that as well last weekend against the Tennessee Titans. That was fucking electrifying in itself. 19-16 victory over the Titans, who were the number 1 seed, had home field advantage, and fucking blew it, basically, to say the least. This is going to be a fun game. It doesn't sound as if there's many injuries on either side of the teams. It sounds like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase are still going to be on the same fucking page that they've had all year. Just fucking chugga-choo-choo. Fucking making that train keep going on the track in a nice, smooth manner. And then you got C.J. Uzama, Joe Mixon, who's a dog, both in the receiving and in the rushing game. So we've talked about those guys. T. Higgins has had a couple what the fuck type of games, like amazing games. And then the Patrick Mahomes, I mean, the Chiefs can fucking score like that. Okay, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on with what the Chiefs can do. Their defense has to they have to come full force, have to really put the pressure on the Bengals, get the ball, or try to get takeaways. So I think really keep them in this ball game. But at the same time, they really are going to be in this ball game the whole entire time because of what Patrick Mahomes is capable of doing. I'm really excited for the AFC side of things as well as the NFC side of things. These games, 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 5:30, 2 o'clock p.m., what the fuck, 2 p.m. Central Time Sunday, and 5:30 p.m. Central Time on Sunday. AFC, NFC Championship games. Could not wait. Super Bowl weekend only 2 or 3 weeks away. And that, folks, is all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining, whether that be on Facebook or if on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, hit the like, hit the share, and show your friends what we got working here. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Have a great one, folks. We will not be here tomorrow as I am going to be out and about kind of doing my own thing, but we will. Okay, we will be here Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always. Hopefully with guest host John or Y4. They're both the same person, so hopefully we're with him on Friday. But anyways, until then, have a great couple of days. We'll see you Friday, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Have a great one, folks.